Hey everyone, welcome to our Pick Your Part storytelling for November. My name is Tim Holmes. I'm the author, of course, of Peanut Butter and Dragon, Splash and Tooth Again, and The Reno Buzz right behind me there. The other books you see behind me are limited edition books that have been created during Start a Story Young Writers Workshop. And that's something you can check out at timholmes.com. And the idea is that we get a group of kids together and we build stories together. And so I wanted to do something like that on a smaller scale. And we've managed to do that with Patreon. So my patrons come together every month at patreon.com/timwrites, and they build stories by simply voting on different pieces they would like included in a storytelling at the end of the month. And so here we go with November's Tale. My patrons have built this story. And they know like the different parts and the checkpoints, and they've made choices. We even open it up to they've named a few of the characters and stuff like that. And they always name the story as well. They title the story. So this is their creation. I'm just doing my best to tell the story the way they wanted it told. So without further ado, this is a Pick Your Part story. November's story is called A Bone to Pick. Dinosaur Salamander was the hero the city never knew it needed. Now, Dinosaur's real identity was that of a young boy in grade 4. But very few people knew that. And even fewer knew his real name. Now, he had set off different alarms all across the city. He had set up devices to make sure he knew when trouble was going to start. And so Dinosaur Salamander sat lazing about, enjoying a nice cool day, when an alarm went off at the beach. Oh, he got bounced out of his chair and he said, "Time to go to work." And so he salamander all the way to the beach where the alarm was going off. And he knew headed to the beach, a beach alarm would mean that Red Shark, his arch enemy, was up to no good again. And so he had to get to the beach before Red Shark got away. Now, Red Shark, when he got to the beach, Red Shark was chomping his way through the burger shack, scaring all the folks away from the beach because he got kicks out of scaring folks away with his big chompy teeth. And as he was chomping the last bit of the wood from that burger shack and all the people were running away from the beach, well, Dinosaur Salamander arrived and went, "Ha ha! I've got you right where I want you." And Red Shark just laughed at him. "You have no idea, Salamander. You have no idea what awaits for you. This time I have a dynamite plan. You bonehead, you're never going to stop me. It's going to be like you never saw us." And he ran away. Now, Red Shark, he wasn't completely all shark. Red Shark was half man, half shark. And those legs of his, man, they could move. And they were a lot longer than Salamander's. And Salamander gave chase. And he already had activated, knowing Red Shark was on the beach, he had activated his drone cage. And so he was piloting it with his wrist device as he scrambled past all the traffic in the streets, dodging cars. Me, 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 me. And Red Shark was hopping from car to car. People were screaming because, oh my goodness, Red Shark was at it again. Get off my car. And Red Shark, he was moving through the cars, and Salamander was waiting for just the right moment to drop that drone cage, when all of a sudden, all sorts of green goo started flying over Salamander's shoulders and flying at the cars, and it would get all stuck in their tires, and the cars would get stuck and wouldn't be able to move. And this created a situation where there was no clear spot to drop the cage. And Salamander was getting frustrated. He looked over his shoulder. He couldn't see where all this green goo was coming from. But it was obvious. It was headed towards Red Shark. Now, as they got towards a museum, Red Shark began to look like he was headed up the steps. And it was just that moment he cleared the traffic. And Salamander hit the button on his device. And the cage came down right in front of the museum steps. And Red Shark grabbed the bars. He'd been caught. Oh, this won't hold me for long, Salamander. And Salamander knew that. And he turned around as he heard someone behind him, and someone about his height came by. A little, was it a boy? Was it a girl? He couldn't tell. And he said, "Who are you?" All dressed in green from head to toe. This little person looked at Salamander with his hand on their hips, and they said, "I am Booger." And Salamander raised one big eyebrow and went, "That's disgusting." And Booger went, "Yes, but it gets the job done." "Well, it didn't this time. You just trapped all the traffic. That was a lot of trouble." "I'm sorry. I'm still working on my aim," said Booger. "Well, while you're here, you might as well help. We don't have a lot of time. Come on." And they headed together into the museum. Meanwhile, Red Shark was in the cage, chomp, 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 chewing at the bars. And they wouldn't last long. Inside the museum, Salamander had a pretty darn good idea what Red Shark was up to. He didn't really understand the end game. He didn't know what Red Shark was after it for, but he thought he might be after the dino bones. And so Booger and Salamander got to work trying to fool Red Shark. Outside the museum, Red Shark finally bit his way through the cage and stormed into the museum. He made it to the dinosaur exhibit, and the lights were still off, so he couldn't see very clearly, but he used his strong sense of shark smell, and he realized there's no dino bones in here. Those are chicken bones. Somebody switched them. And that's when Salamander and Booger jumped up from the shadows and went, "Ha ha! We've got you now." And Red Shark went, "Ha ha ha! Oh, I'll see you catch me." And he ran up, following his sniffer, and he busted through a stairwell door and headed to the roof. And Salamander and Booger looked at each other and went, "He knows! He knows we hid the dinosaur bones on the roof." And so they gave chase. Booger started shooting green boogers all the way up the stairs, all the green goo, all over the stairs. And he kept missing. They kept missing Red Shark. And Red Shark chuckled the whole way up. And they heard him get up to the roof door and get out to the roof. Meanwhile, Salamander and Booger were caught in all the green goo. "He's getting away!" screamed Booger. "It's kind of your fault," said Salamander. "Get on my back. I got a plan." And Salamander decided to use his special power, his sticky nose. And he crawled up the walls with his sticky nose, crawled a little forward, and put his nose forward. And he made his way up the walls all the way to the roof using his sticky nose power with Booger on his back. And they landed on the roof, and there was no sign of Red Shark, and all the dino bones were gone. They were too late. But it was okay, because Salamander knew, having battled Red Shark a whole bunch, he actually knew where Red Shark's secret underwater base was. That's where he'll have his master plan come to life. We've got to go to his underwater base. And so they made their way all the way to the beach. And just as they were about to dive in the water, Salamander turned to Booger and said, "Can you even breathe underwater? How long can you hold your breath?" And Booger said, "I got it covered." And Booger put together a scuba mask with all the green goo. "I can breathe a good long time now," said Booger. And they dove into the water, and Booger followed Salamander all the way to Red Shark's secret underwater base. And Red Shark came swimming out of his base to meet them. And he said, "You can't stop me. I've already succeeded in my plans. Watch as my ghost dinosaur army comes to life." And they watched, sure enough, as ghost dinosaurs slowly walked out of the base and floated under the water. It was really amazing, thought Salamander. What an incredible feat. But we still got to stop him, because gosh knows what he's going to do with that ghost army. And so they saw in his hand a bit of a device. And if there's one rule of being a hero, you never let the bad guy hold on to a device. And so Salamander gave Booger a look, and Booger nodded. And Booger put out a long, sticky green goo rope and snuck that device right out of Red Shark's hands and grabbed onto the device and gave it to Salamander. And then Booger covered Red Shark in the green goo. Red Shark laughed again. Sharks love this green stuff. It's so delicious. Love it. This isn't going to stop me at all. And that's when Salamander looked at the device in his hand. He said, this says Shark Escape Controller. Interesting. Beep. And he hit the button, and 6 sharks bashed their way out of the underwater base, flooding the base with seawater. That was not going to be usable ever again. And the sharks came out and used their powerful shark noses and looked from Salamander to Booger and back to Red Shark. And their big shark smiles all came across their face, and they slowly started to swim their way towards Red Shark. And Red Shark realized what was happening. No. That's where the green goo is. That Booger character has it. No, not me. No. And he had to swim away fast because those 6 sharks, they weren't listening anymore. They just wanted a green goo snack. And they watched, Salamander and Booger watched as Red Shark swam deep into the dark ocean, chased by his 6 pet sharks that were no longer friendly. Salamander and Booger made their way back to the beach. And Denozer turned to Booger and said, with some practice and maybe a little bit of a name change, you and I could make a pretty great team. Booger smiled and snorted some boogers. The dinos, the ghost dinos, end up being the absolute best tourist attraction the museum had ever had. The end. Hey guys, that was a Pick Your Part story for this November. I hope you enjoyed that. Please do check out timhomes.com for all sorts of links about how you can create your very own stories with some free downloads and activities and worksheets. You can check out the Start a Story app if you have an Apple device. And starting in January, we're going to be actually having the Pick Your Part story feature available for everyone, the entire public, on timhomes.com website. So everyone will be able to get in on the voting, whether it's classrooms of children or yourself at home, whatever you feel like joining in. It can be adults, it can be kids. Everybody gets a chance to vote on the story. And the 13th of every month, you'll get a brand new story to vote on, and you'll also get the storytelling of the previous month. So guys, take care of yourselves, take care of your families, and as always, have fun creating.